welcome to the Playboy Mansion.
Hey guys, welcome to Playboy's Tarot. Today we'll be doing a pick a card reading on what past life is affecting you guys.
And to this day, to this day, to this day.
So we have 4 piles, pile 1, pile 2, pile 3, and pile 4. So take a minute to pick the pile you feel the most drawn to. If you need a second to decide, feel free to pause the video right here. Try and keep an open mind with this reading because this is a past life reading and there's a bunch of you guys, so different energies are going to come through, and you know, if it resonates, it resonates. If it doesn't, we'll just take it as entertainment and keep it moving. But we're going to go ahead and jump right in with group 1. Okay, hey group 1. So let's see what past life is currently affecting you guys to this day. So we have forgiveness, monk or nun, Native American, Greco-Roman, Atlantis, crown chakra, move, patience, adjacent possibilities, choice, shadow self, thoughts, kindred spirits, third eye chakra, the garden and the gate, the chariot, 4 of wands, King of Cups, and the World. So right off the bat, some of you guys may have felt like you've had some sort of connection with water or marine life, or you have some affinity towards, you know, nautical themed things. You may have always had, you know, dreams of, you know, water themed places, maybe the ocean, but there also may be some sort of fear or just some sort of discomfort or even a longing that you sense towards water, with Atlantis showing up here. Maybe you guys felt like as though you were one of the people, or you resonated with that story. If you know the story of Atlantis, you know, one of the people that drowned with the city. Now, to give you kind of the backstory of Atlantis to my knowledge, it was said to be an island that was very advanced in civilization and technology. You know, they were far more up to date and in terms of society than all the other, you know, cities around, you know, and it was a water themed city. And it was said to be protected by Poseidon, and we do have the King of Cups here, and it was ruled over and named after his son Atlas, who was king. Now, everybody lived in peace and harmony. It was said to be a utopian society where everything was great, wonderful, fine and dandy, until, you know, with the growing power of the city and their advancements in society and technology, there was a big amount of corruption that ended up taking place. And it was said that their karma or something, you know, was that there was an earthquake that caused the city to sink in a day and a night, and it was never to be seen again, and it was a very tragic ending to this great city. So you may have felt some sort of connection to, you know, this marine life or marine animals, the ocean, but you also may have some sort of fear of swimming, some sort of fear of drowning, or fear of water, or, you know, you may have had to, you know, your soul had to start all over again and has that fear of instability here as well, or, you know, that you feel like good things won't last for long in your life here as well. And even with monk or nun and Native American and move and the chariot card coming through, I'm just getting a lot of energy of movement. Maybe there's an internal discomfort or dissatisfaction where you feel as though that you have to keep going, or you get really uncomfortable if you stay somewhere for too long, or you have a very inept or innate need for stability, but, you know, there's a part of you that yearns for movement, or you just feel like things have to continuously keep going, or things just move in and out of your life. Maybe you lived in your past life, you know, there was a quality about it where you guys kept moving a lot. There was maybe a nomadic type of life that you lived, especially with Native American coming through. Maybe you guys were part of those Native American societies where they moved, you know, they followed the herd, you know, the buffalo and stuff, and, you know, things of that nature, because, you know, they had to follow the food where it would go, so you guys would do that. So there was a lack of stability in a sense. You know, you guys' life consisted of continuously starting over and starting over and starting over. And, it may have created this issue with stability and patience to in this day. And maybe some of you guys may have connected with someone who was a kindred spirit, but due to your nomadic life, you may have had to leave them behind, and you guys couldn't stay together. There was some sort of separation here as well. And maybe you never forgave yourself for that, or your soul never forgave yourself for that. And there may be issues that come up in relationships for you where it always feels as though there's a quality here where you have to make some sort of decision or make some sort of choice. That there is kind of like an ultimatum like energy in your relationships where it's an all or nothing type of thing. Now, there also may be an issue where you have a codependency, or you struggled in the past with codependency on people due to that need for stability, because in a past life or in past lives you may have lacked that energy where things were stable for you. So with Guardian and the Gate coming through, I feel like now in this lifetime you guys have this thing about you where you created this sense of stability, or where you are, there's a bit of stagnancy, or you get too comfortable in a place because it's calm, and you're afraid of the changes and the movement and rapid transitions to your norm. So you stay in places for too long because they bring you that comfort, because you know about it, because it feels safe. But there's so much beyond that gate that you lock yourself in. There's so much more lush and green pastures and opportunities and possibilities for you, even with adjacent possibilities that you aren't really opening yourself up to, or maybe you didn't open yourself up to for fear of that instability, not wanting to move on past something. And maybe even on a soul level internally, if you made some sort of this connection or this energy where you didn't forgive yourself for not being able to connect with someone, or having to leave somebody behind, having to make some sort of head over heart decision, here there may be some sort of blockage that may have come up in your love life too, here with kindred spirits coming through, where you may still be on a soul level waiting for somebody, because you made some sort of oath or something like that. Now, I'm also kind of seeing that you kind of picked up some sort of spiritual gifts, or ideologies and faith type thing through your past lives. And that's coming from that Atlantis and that Native American past life, where you may have some intuitive gifts that you have with crown chakra coming through and third eye. You have a strong sense of intuition, a strong connection to your ancestors and to spirit. And I feel like you also have a great sense of clarity and knowledge, and a clear sense of vision, in your mind, and your thoughts are kind of how you get your messages intuitively, with the thought card showing up here as well, where you have the ability to kind of understand and see things from different perspectives. You can open so many different doors and possibilities for yourself. And you also may have a gift of patience, or you may need to learn the gift of patience. Now, for some of you guys, I was saying where you guys have this issue with stagnancy and feeling safe and keeping yourself in a bubble. Now, on another note, some of you guys may have an issue with keeping movement and always feeling like you have to be on the go, go, go. And whenever you're not on the go, you get that discomfort, because if you stay somewhere too long, that stability is going to be destroyed. So you're constantly on the move or running, to kind of avoid that sense of destruction here as well, because you've gone through that, or you may have faced that uprooting type of energy in a past life before here as well. Now, you may have some sort of ties to Greece or ancient Rome. Now, with Greco-Roman and Atlantis coming up here as well, it's most widely agreed that if Atlantis did exist, even though historians still debate on whether or not if it was real or not, that it would have been in Greece or around Greece, in modern day or near modern day Santorini. So maybe you always had a close affinity to Greece or Rome, the Roman Empire or Rome, and you may even feel like you look like them, or you've just always been into Greek mythology and those stories here as well, and those Greek deities, and even Native American culture. You may have always resonated or, felt a close connection to that energy, especially with her being in the red. Maybe that brings you a sense of stability, or you feel really grounded or at home when you learn or read about those different places here. Now, I feel like with the world coming through too, I feel like you may have had a lot of different, past life experiences and places where you've been here as well, where it's kind of just been, you've seen it all, you've done it all. You faced your shadow self, in a sense. You've seen the other half of the coin and the front half. You kind of walked both lines, or towed the line in a sense. But I'm also kind of getting that you may have connected with someone, or you have someone in your life currently that you may have shared a past life with you, and you guys may be kindred spirits, where it's kind of like a soulmate thing, or you just have some sort of soul connection, and they've been with you through these different lifetimes, or one of these different lifetimes, and they may represent a part of you that is kind of like a reflection of you that isn't all the things that you truly like. You reflect to them this other half of themselves, and they reflect the other half of you, or you connected with someone like that, and that could be a family member, that could be a lover, that could be anything, but it's someone who you just have this similarity with. You guys have a weird connection here, and you guys were kind of brought back now to kind of mend those karmic fences and finally forgive one another, so that you can move forward and release whatever old karma and get that that stability and release yourself from this gate here. So I feel like a lot of you may have been fulfilling karma with someone. Now you guys are finally going to be able to, for some of you, be together, or just coming back into each other's life to close out this karmic contract that you guys may have had. So yeah, also with Atlantis coming through, you may have an issue with authority figures who are corrupt, or abuse their power in a sense, and you may have took on a nomadic life, walking away and leaving behind things that aren't fair and aren't balanced and don't treat people equally. You don't like things that aren't just. You don't like seeing people treated wrong, so you have a strong sense of compassion and love for people here as well, and you kind of walk your own line, or walk alone in life, because you don't want to face things that are going to impede upon your power and your strength, or other people's power dynamics. So you kind of want to seek out the truth in life, and find out for yourself what it is. And I feel like it's just that energy of breaking away from society and the norm, and just going after things for yourself, even though people may have tried to keep you in a certain position in life, or a certain stage where you felt kind of locked in and like you had to conform. I feel like now you're just kind of connecting with people who are part of that soul family for you, that are kind of like kindred spirits to you, or you guys both share that same ideology. So you may not be into politics, or you may not enjoy corrupt figures, and you may be more so like a social activist for people who are the underdogs, or going after things that where people aren't treated fairly, to bring back that sense of peace and harmony that you once experienced with the Atlantis card and stuff like that. You also may be against kind of that energy where it's like pollution, or what's happening to the ocean and stuff like that. So yeah, number one, that's what I have for you. I hope this reading resonated. If it did, be sure to like, comment, and subscribe, and I hope to catch you in the next video. Bye. Okay, hey, number two, so let's see what past life is affecting you guys to this day, that you guys need to kind of overcome, or need to be aware of. So we have vows, father, lessons and blessings, angels, spouse, gentleness, healing, compassion, listening, win or lose, well-deserved reward, challenging times, fifth chakra, hostilities, community. We have the Seven of Cups. We have the Hangman. We also have the Six of Swords, the Knight of Wands, and the High Priestess. So with you guys, there may have been some sort of oath that you took some vow you made in a past life, or your soul made in contract with either your father or whatever. But whatever vow you made, it may have posed as a blockage in terms of this life. If you felt kind of blocked in any area of your life, as if something wasn't working for you, or there's just some weird energy surrounding some part or aspect of your life, it may be due to this oath that you took for whatever reason, why you felt the need to make this oath at the time. But I feel like now you're finally completing that energy and letting go of, whatever it is, and moving away from this energy and finally stepping into your healing. Now, your father may have been a prominent figure in your past life, and it could be your current father, where you and him or that paternal figure may have shared previous lifetimes together. And I'm kind of getting, there's just this issue here with challenge. There was some sort of strife, some sort of conflict that was an issue here between you and this individual, with all these 5 comings out. You have the 5th chakra, you have 5 with the challenging times card, you have 5 with the win or lose. There was some sort of ultimatum like energy here as well, but I also feel like there was an issue here with self-sacrifice, where you may have had to, be a martyr in a sense, or you had to sacrifice yourself in terms, or for the betterment of somebody else, in terms of your father or something of that nature. There was some sort of confusion. There wasn't a lot of clarity here. And you may not even understand where this energy stems from. Maybe even if you felt always indebted to your father, or you may have had this underlying tension or, kind of resentment that you didn't know where it stemmed from. Maybe there was an issue with your father not being, compassionate enough towards you, or there was some sort of hostility between you and this individual. Maybe your father, or you may have felt like they stifled your expression. Maybe you didn't feel as though they understood you, or you guys were able to communicate clearly and effectively towards one another. Maybe you had to save your father before, or you couldn't save them, or your father couldn't save you, and your souls made some sort of agreement here to mend that in this lifetime. Now, this could have been energy where somebody was in and out of your life in a past life, and it created this kind of challenge, where you were kind of feeling maybe even at the mercy towards somebody else, and you may have carried that energy or that fear or that affinity into this life, where you are overly compassionate, overly giving, overly healing, wanting to take care of people, or you always have faced this energy where, with people, where it's kind of like win or lose, where it's kind of like all or nothing type of thing, where, they kind of, trying to say it in the best way I can, where it's kind of just been this conflict between you and other people, where there's an underlying tension that you don't know where it stems from, where people need you to do a lot for them, or you're the one that people go to for healing. They go to you to be listened to, and compassion, because they know you have that healing, loving energy. But it's you may have been some sort of person where you were that healing figure, where you were that person people would go to for that energy. But in a sense, you have to be careful of not being a doormat or not being used, because you may have a really strong, gentle energy about you. Now, with angels coming through, there has been some strong angelic guidance around you guys, and this didn't start in this lifetime, where you guys have been protected from these hostilities and these challenging times. You've always kind of just gotten through, because the universe has some sort of compassionate care for you guys, that you always make it through to those calmer waters. Somehow, some way, you end up sailing. Even when you get stuck or hit that wall, it may not be clear to you why or how, but it's there. Now, in a past life, there may have been an issue with your spouse. Maybe your father in a past life could have been your spouse. And I know for some of you guys who aren't familiar with past lives and how things incarnate, it may sound like, ew, what the hell? But, the way souls work in the universe, it's not like that. Your father's your father, chill out. But maybe in a past life there could have been that issue here, or it kind of may have been a thing where your father may have stood in the way of you and your spouse coming together. Maybe there was hostilities about your relationship, or there was just something that happened in the community, here with the community fig card coming out, that there may have been this issue with public ridicule here as well, where you needed your father to protect you, or someone needed to be protected here, but someone didn't come through for unknown reasons. Someone had to sacrifice themselves for somebody else, but you may have carried that energy with you. But I feel like finally you are completing this lesson here that you've dealt with before, with hostilities. Maybe you even feel as though you have this fear of growing tensions with other people if you are to articulate yourself too well, if you are to speak clearly, or really push forward your thoughts and truly say what it is that's on your mind. Maybe you have a fear of being too domineering, or pushing yourself out there, so maybe you may be a little more reserved and reclusive. But because you've dealt with hostilities when you did, in a sense, but there's a gentle loving energy that's around you. And if there is some sort of tension or some sort of conflict or underlying, whether it be overt or unconscious challenge that you have in terms of your father figure or paternal figure, it's time for you to forgive your father or forgive them, so that you can kind of be freed of this energy, or they can be freed of this energy. Now, for some of you guys, this could be that your father is watching over you and has made some sort of vow to look after you and kind of protect you. For those of you who have lost your father in a sense, and has been kind of helping you surmount some of those issues that you've dealt with in the past, or that those obstacles that you are reoccurring themes that you've dealt with lessons and blessings coming through, especially if you've gone through a lot of strife and challenge in your life. They're kind of backing you, and they hear you whenever you may be talking about your challenges or thinking about it to yourself. There's some sort of healing energy coming through here. Now, I'm kind of seeing that there's this energy where you had to fight for something. Maybe fight for your father's love, fight for your spouse's love, and there's just been this energy where in all things in your life, in order for you to get it, or for it to feel like it's a well-deserved reward, or feel like it's something that you're worthy of, it has to come with some sort of strife, or it has to come with some sort of battle. It doesn't just, you don't feel comfortable with things that just flow naturally and easily for you, or maybe in the past you've dealt with that issue where things just need that battle like energy, where it's kind of like love and war type of thing, where you have to fight for the affections of others, or fight for attention, or fight for compassion, where for it to feel as though you deserve it. Maybe you made a vow to yourself that you've had to go through these challenges or these hostilities in order for you to finally feel comfortable with what you have. It comes with some sort of love and war type of thing, where it's like a win or lose battle. It's either you fight for it, and if you don't fight for it, then you don't deserve it. Or maybe that's how other people have presented themselves in your life, where it has to be some sort of challenge before you guys get to that harmony, before you guys get to that healing, before you finally get to see people's compassion. But you need to know that you don't need that energy. You need to let go of that need or that innate desire to start conflict, whether that be unconscious or conscious level, where there needs to be conflict in order for you to get something that you deserve. No, that's not true. You can have peace. You could be happy with harmony. There doesn't have to be an issue with being at peace with things being fine and normal and whatever. And also, you guys need to kind of get out of this fear of not going after what it is that you want, for fear that things are going to be challenging, or that you'll meet ridicule, or that you'll meet hostilities and tensions with others. Don't succumb or subdue yourself for other people. Go after what it is that you want. Don't be afraid to speak your mind and express yourself. And some of you guys may need to work on your 5th chakra here, because it may have been subdued in the past. Now, some of you guys also may have some sort of healing ability with speech here as well, where you're able to kind of listen, and you have a compassionate, healing nature. You have a gentle energy about you where you can heal the community and heal mass amounts of people who are going through challenging times. And it could have been something that you did before, or because you know how it feels to, be looked over, or how it feels to be subdued, or how it feels to be oppressed. And, you've had to be that person that sacrificed yourself before to finally get that peace. But now you have all these different perspectives, all these different knowledges and experiences in your toolbox that you're able to help other people now at this time. Now, you may have dealt with some issues and challenges in your relationships here as well. So it's kind of just surmounting those energies and turning it into something that you can use as a healing point in your life. So group 2s, that's what I have for you guys. I'm sorry I talked your ear off. If you like this reading, be sure to like, comment, and subscribe, and I hope to catch you in the next video. Bye. Hi group 3s, so let's see what past life is affecting you guys to this day. So we have galactic ships, spirituality and religion, freedom, awakening, trust and faith, persecution and inquisition, hope, change, confront, angel of balance, detach, control, blossoming, abundance, appreciation, contract. We also have the 10 of Swords, the shadow side, 10 of Cups, King of Pentacles, and the 6 of Wands. So with you guys, there's a few different messages I'm kind of getting here. With Galactic, some of you guys, this may be your first life, but more so what I'm kind of seeing here is you guys have had a lifetime and another dimension, or you've come from a different place outside of this earth sphere, this dimension that we're on here. And when you came, you were a fresh new soul, fresh new spirit, and you just were really shocked at these earthling people as to understanding why everybody is the way that they are. Maybe you're really confused to what's up with these people. They're also harsh and angry and violent, and their energy and soul wasn't as pure as yours. But I feel like since you came from, and you have to keep an open mind with these readings, but since you came from this external dimension, you guys could be a starseed or something of that nature, where you were just really into, I'm sorry, my brother's playing video games. You were just really into the stars and spirituality and learning about the planets, astrology, philosophies, and just occult knowledge, learning about spirituality and just things that aren't the typical norm, because it's what was the most interesting to you to uncover, and the most closely related to where you came from, I feel like, in a sense. And you ended up being really good at it, and you've developed many healing and psychic abilities here in a sense. And people started to see you as a figure where they could go to for healing and awakening and freedom of themselves. And it ended up bringing you a blossoming amount of abundance. It came out of nowhere, where you were kind of revered and people saw you and appreciated your work. But it went against what was either the religion at that time, or the law, or what was widely considered acceptable. And you may have gone through some sort of persecution here, where it may have been how you face your demise, in a sense, where people tried to control and subdue your gifts, in a sense. And it may have been something that was really, really traumatic for you to go through, where it could have been really torturous or hurtful for yourself to experience. And it's different for everybody here, because it is a general reading. But on a more general scheme, maybe you guys were shipped off somewhere else to go to some sort of prison island or whatever. But it may have kind of put this fear in expressing your gifts. Maybe it's something that now there's just kind of this sore spot or this tension around, truly tapping into your gifts and putting it out there. You feel as though you have to protect yourself because you face some sort of persecution. You may have been ridiculed and judged and in public, the court of public opinion, and even in a real court, considered, like, maybe you were considered doing witchcraft, and people said it was wrong, or they didn't like your philosophies, they didn't like your healing abilities, they didn't like your psychic abilities, and you faced some sort of persecution or some sort of judgment, and it was not good. And especially with the shadow side being here, people really tried to subdue you, and they made it seem as though it was something dark, or they may have put you or labeled you as like a bad person, even though your intentions and what you did for people were only good. And now in your present moments, you may have an issue when people kind of say negative things about you, or you have kind of like a fear of people saying negative things about you, for fear that it may lead to some sort of persecution again. And on a conscious level, I feel like obviously no one's going to burn you at the stake or throw you into the rig or whatever, but there's still kind of like this weird unconscious energy where you have this fear of what people are going to say, or being attacked publicly, or being misunderstood, or you don't really like when people misjudge your character. It truly offends you on a soul level. You deeply internalize when people are kind of like where they kind of take your character and they misconstrue it. It's really, really important to you that you're seen in the honest, true way, for fear that if people do see you in the wrong way, that, it may lead to something bad. But you may have subdued your gifts here, in a sense, where you're kind of afraid that if you were to kind of put it out there, that you would face that here as well again. Now, I kind of just feel as though that, what you need to know is that things have changed, and that you've come back another lifetime here, and, you're in a time period where it's okay for you to be truly yourself. Now, you guys have probably gone through some sort of spiritual awakening, or you've been going through a spiritual awakening, because your soul may have made a karmic contract or soul contract that this is what you're here to do. And you need to confront this, issue or this pain around, this energy where you've gone through that persecution, and maybe you're afraid of being persecuted by society again, or you've had to overcome that. But you need to know that you're finally safe to be completely free to be your 100% self. And once you go through this awakening, that's when you're going to be your 100% authentic self. You're not going to be able to go, or you're not going to go through that persecution anymore. You're safe here to finally be fulfilled and be stable and satisfied in that energy. And people will appreciate your gifts here. So maybe you've been pushing them to the back burner, you've not been wanting to face them, or you've been kind of resisting going through this change, but there's hope. It's going to bring you some sort of success. People will look up to you. People would go to you for this healing, this help, and you're here to help people confront their own issues here as well. But I also feel like it'll be something that brings you some sort of blossoming abundance. It's here to bring you some sort of success. You'll be crowned in a sense once you master this energy, but you're going to have to overcome this uncanny unconscious fear. Now, for those of you who this is your first life, maybe you started dabbling or getting this interest into the occult knowledge or hidden knowledge, spirituality, astrology, and maybe people around you don't completely get it, and maybe you're kind of like wanting to keep it to yourself because you feel as though people are going to judge you, or it's going to bring about some sort of ending, or it's going to bring about some sort of pain. But you just need to know that you're free now. You're free to do whatever you want. This is 2019. We are in this dimension where, it's illegal for people to be burnt at the stake. You're safe in this lifetime, and you need to have trust and faith in your belief system and what you are and who you are, and let go of control, let go of holding back yourself, and be completely free. Things have changed with the change card. Go with the tide, trust yourself, and have hope, because I feel like it's going to bring a lot of success. Follow this awakening, and it may be a little scary right now, or it may have been scary in the past, but Your gifts were given to you for a reason. Your soul chose this life with contract. There was a reason why you decided to be here. Detach from that fear. Detach from those people or those naysayers who are trying to hold you back and subdue you because they're just keeping you bound. Release yourself from that past fear, those, whatever that uncanny feeling it is, and just be authentically you. You have to go through some sort of confrontation with your own self and your own soul. Now, in a past life, you may have felt, suffered a lot of pain surrounding this. So it's difficult, or it may have been difficult, or, people didn't understand. People may still not understand. Some people may say things about you that you don't like, but that's part of it. But there's going to be more love that outweighs the bad. You've completed those phases with those 2 10s coming out here. And it's time for you to gain that stability, finally master and sit on your throne. Don't hide your healing abilities. Don't hide your healing gifts, because it's who you are. And even if you've been running from it, just face it. That you have this ability. Some of you guys may be able to predict things. Some of you guys have a strong sense of intuition. Some of you guys have herbalistic abilities, healing abilities, or you have prophetic speech, whatever it is. But the angel of balance is here with you now and is backing you to protect you. Everything is fine now to be 100% authentically you. If you had an interest in this, in this stuff, in the tarot, and astrology, and philosophy, and whatever else, there's a reason why it calls to you, and you should discover it. And it'll help you bring success, even if you don't want to be, a spiritual leader, though some of you guys have that energy here. It may still be able to be something that you can, lean upon that helps you in your success here as well. So group 3s, that's what I have for you guys. I hope this reading resonated. If it did, be sure to like, comment, and subscribe, and hope to catch you in the next video. Bye. Hey, number 4s, so let's see what past life is the most prevalent towards you guys today. We have Asia, finances, food and hunger, love life, karmic relationship, peace, power, grace, transition, observe, all tied up. 4th chakra, trust, flow, financial constraints. 2nd chakra, 5 of swords, 4 of swords, 4 of cups, and the Queen of Pentacles. So with you guys, there may be some sort of connection that you've always felt towards Asian culture, the cuisine, the architecture, the people, the history. There just may be a certain pull, or, you may have always identified with that culture and that continent in a sense. So I also am just kind of seeing that, in a past life or in one of your past lives, there was an issue that you guys have felt or faced with, poverty and finances, especially with food and hunger coming through and financial constraints. There was some sort of challenge or some sort of issue where you had to fight for, those basic necessities. And I'm kind of getting more so a rags to riches type of story here, especially with power coming through and transition. You went from this energy of lack and not having, things being tight, this constraint, having to, go to sleep without food, or, this issue where there was like conflict here. Or there may have been an issue with power dynamics where there was a hierarchy in a sense where, the elite people, had more and you, were less, or in the group where there was less of stuff going on. Sorry, I got distracted. But I feel like you took some sort of vow or oath, or there was some sort of decision that you made to never be poor again, or never have to go through that energy of lack where you didn't have, or things were being constrained, or things were being withheld from you, because especially with all tied up coming out here too as well. There was an issue where you felt really stuck before, where you didn't know what the next step was going to be or how you were going to get there, and there was just discontentment with the 4 of Cups, with you wanting more than what you were presented with, wanting more than what you had. in a sense. So you made some sort of vow and you really, really fought, I feel, to kind of move yourself from one point and get to an elevated place of power, completing this energy where there wasn't much here for you, and finally in an energy of flow where things are finally, you know, happening and, you know, moving for you. Now, there may have been an energy of, you know, financial constraints on your life currently due to some sort of issue, or, you know, maybe even an imbalance of power that you may have had. Some of you guys, where it may have been a thing where you went from rags to riches. Some of you guys went from riches to rags, and you had to learn some sort of lesson in that sense where, you know, I feel like you're finally completing that and you're in a new beginning type of energy here with trust and the 0 being on that card. But yeah, I'm also kind of just seeing, you know, with observe, you may have really watched, you know, other people and observed how they kind of got to that place or that position of power. And it may still be something here that you kind of evaluate and you really strategize how you're going to move up in ranks, or, you know, you really calculate and you have a lot of different ideas and different goals that you want to achieve. There's always this energy of wanting more for yourself, wanting better for yourself, because there may have been this internal fear that you're going to have this lack, so you overcompensate for that, or you feel this need to kind of just be better. You feel this drive, like you don't have this internal peace yet, until you reach that pinnacle of success, or what you feel is that pinnacle of success for you. Now, also, there may have been an issue with some sort of karmic relationship, karmic theme in your life, where there was a continued cycle between you and somebody else, where I feel like, you know, you and this person may have had either a toxic relationship in a sense, where you guys were kind of dependent on one another, or, you know, and you were in a relationship with someone who was in a financially constraining situation, and you guys both had to kind of fend for the relationship or fend for your survival necessities here as well. But you may attract or may have attracted in your life a lot of different karmic partners here, because there was some sort of lesson that you didn't fulfill before that you needed to fulfill now, where there was power dynamics in your relationships with people, where, you know, there was relationships where you may have given your power away, or, you know, they may have stifled your creativity, stifled your growth. Maybe you were with people who were kind of more so on the lusty and passionate side of things, but there was, you know, a lack in other parts of the relationship, where there was issues with communication, issue with seeing eye to eye, or, you know, there may have been an issue with settling for less than what you deserve. For, you know, and also just, you may have been a type of person where you tried to keep the peace a lot here, but you ended up, you know, kind of blocking yourself in a sense. But you and somebody that you dealt with in a past life may have come back together in this life to kind of relieve yourselves or relieve your souls from this energy where you're feeling, you know, overly indebted to one another, or you guys made some sort of, you know, contract to finally fulfill it. You guys are here to do that healing. You know, there may be a lot of healing that needs to be done on your heart in a sense, because you've dealt with a lot of different tumultuous relationships, whether that be in this lifetime or a past lifetime, where it's kind of spilling over into this. But I feel like you're finally going to be in an energy of mastery at this time and release. You know, you're going through some sort of transition, some sort of shift from one energy to the next. You know, getting out of this energy where you were in that lack, in that unfulfillment, that energy where there wasn't a lot happening for you, and finally moving into a place of flow. When you release yourself from what is tying you up, release yourself from that period of rest, you know, it's time to finally go and get going after what you want, getting off the sidelines and finally doing what it is that you want to do. Because you may have spent a lifetime on the sidelines, may have spent a lifetime watching people succeed and, you know, seeing things pass you by, and you may have, you know, really wanted to finally be that person in the driver's seat. You know, you've been in that place of feeling neglected and, you know, wanting something more for yourself, and I feel like now is finally the time for you to go and get that. But it's in a harmonious way where you're not abusing your power, where you're not doing it for the wrong reasons. It's finally getting into that energy of grace, handling everything in a very balanced, peaceful, harmonious, and respectful way of you and all those around you. You know, carrying yourself with a sort of elevation and respect. And I feel like you have that air of energy around you anyway, where, you know, you understand the struggle and the hustle. And there's just this part of you where you don't ever want to go back to that. So you need to stay connected to spirit and the universe, and that energy where you're kind of always working on that affirmation, and, you know, really trusting the universe to bring you that fulfillment and that abundance that you so deserve, because you truly do. And ooh, that was deep in my throat, sorry. Releasing yourself from whatever karmic contract you have in terms of your love relationships. Maybe you've always kind of attracted the same partner in a sense, in different people, where it's always kind of left you feeling stuck or left you feeling a little unsatisfied or unheard, you know, but you stayed out of stability, out of keeping the peace. You know, internally you're a peacemaker. You love things to be harmonious. You care about people. You're trusting, you're open, you're loving, but you may need to kind of be much more grounded in a sense, and, you know, be a little more definitive in what you want, and putting your foot down into what's not meant for you, and not longer falling into the cycle, especially if you're noticing you're attracting that same type of energy, that same type of person. It's because there's some sort of energetic signature that you have that you need to relieve yourself from, and it may be having to do with your sacral chakra energy, that sexual energy. There maybe needs some healing that needs to be done there, and healing on your heart here as well. Even with the flow card, he has his hand on his heart, you know, so it's practicing, maybe even doing some guided meditations to kind of relieve yourself of that heart chakra energy. Maybe investing more into your finances and learning more about your finances, so you're not longer bleeding yourself out of finances, or your finances are no longer constrained. There needs to be a new beginning. There was some sort of bondage that you may have been in, you know, where you were all tied up, you were stuck, you weren't able to move, you weren't able to progress. But now it's time for you to finally transition out of that phase. It's time for you to finally move up in this lifetime, finally change and advance in a sense, here as well. Now, with the Asia card coming into play, I don't know if you have some sort of interest in, you know, Taoism or Confucianism, with those philosophies of humanity, and kind of moving away from, you know, what people would consider, you know, the finances and all the materialistic parts of the world, and more so being or seeking out the honest truths of life, you know, the spiritual practices, and understanding things from a more humanitarian perspective of things, you know, treating people fairly, you know, kindness, being kind to your fellow man, honesty, compassion, the yin and the yang type of energy. So that symbol also may be important to you, or something that you're interested in. So I thought I might just add that in there if you had some sort of interest in that, or you may have felt like you were connected to one of those Chinese dynasties, like the Zhou dynasty, or, you know, Shang dynasty, and things of that nature. So group 4, that's what I have for you guys. I hope this reading resonated with you, and I hope to catch you with the next video. And yeah, bye.
Shout out to everybody. I had fun.
I gotta be good.